Hey y'all, it's me, Dree. So today's collective spread is opening with uncertainty, isolation, and then we get confusion. So, uncertainty, this talks about not being able to foresee the future. It says that there can be anxiety around the unknown or even around challenges that haven't fully revealed themselves yet. But this card, it also reminds y'all to trust y'all's intuition as y'all move through what it is that cannot yet be seen. And then we get isolation. So this card, it talks about withdrawing. But it also reminds y'all that periods of isolation, those can create space for self-healing and self-discovery. This card says sometimes stepping away from outside influence is exactly what allows something internal to become much more clear. And then we get confusion. And this is, well, too many choices, too much information, difficulty seeing the way forward. But this card does remind y'all that confusion, that's only temporary. It tells y'all to slow down, to think clearly, and then to choose a direction. So I'm getting, there is definitely something here involving uncertainty around a direction, followed by a period of pulling inward, and then it looks like some difficulty determining what happens next. But we're going to let the tarot tell us whose energy this is and what is actually unfolding here. Now let's get into this message. We're starting under this uncertainty. And the tarot brings in the Ten of Swords reversed, the Page of Wands reversed, the Hanged Man reversed. So right away, this feels like we're looking at somebody who has landed in a situation or a position that they effectively do not want to be in. Because this Ten of Swords reverse, this is about changing the outcome. So whoever this person is, they are looking at where things have landed in the present moment, and there is something about this outcome they would like to change. This does not feel like somebody who is content with where they are at the present moment. They may recognize that something has reached an undesirable point. They may recognize that choices, circumstances, or even their own behavior have produced an outcome that they simply no longer want. But there is definitely awareness here that they would prefer for things to be different than they currently are at this time. But the problem comes in with this Page of Wands reversed, because this card is about lacking self-confidence. So this can be somebody lacking the spark, the drive, the excitement, or even the confidence necessary to actually follow through with whatever would be required to change their outcome. And this card can also talk about acting hastily. So it is very possible that this person moved quickly somewhere along the way And now they are finding themselves in a position that does not feel nearly as good as they expected it to. I'm getting maybe they acted before thinking something all the way through. Maybe they followed an impulse. Maybe they moved from excitement without considering the long-term outcome. Whatever happened here, this Page of Wands specifically says that an energy redirect is needed. And I think that is pretty important because this person already knows they do not want to remain where they currently are, but knowing that is simply not enough. Their energy would have to be redirected away from whatever created or continues to maintain this current outcome. Something would have to change in how they are showing up altogether, because then we have this Hangman reverse, and this is about resisting surrender, a lack of focus. This could be about stall tactics. So I'm getting, now we can see exactly why this person is not effectively changing anything yet. This person is feeling the dissatisfaction. They know they want a different outcome, but for whatever reason, they are staying suspended in their current position. It's almost as if this person is stuck there. But I don't necessarily think the cards are saying they are genuinely powerless, because this Hangman reverse is resistance. So I'm getting there is something this person is not surrendering, something that they are not releasing, something that they are not allowing themselves to move beyond. And, well, I'm getting that because of this resistance, this person is remaining stalled. So this first column, it really feels like somebody who is fully sitting inside of their shadow self instead of moving towards what they would actually like. They want the outcome to change, but they are not doing what would be required to change the outcome. And collective, that distinction matters, because wanting something and actually redirecting yourself towards something different, those are two completely separate things. And right now, this person appears to be sitting in the gap between those two places. And then we move into this isolation. And I think when we get to this isolation, I think this is where the energy shifts, because the tarot is bringing in the Hermit, the Nine of Cups reversed, and the Seven of Coins. I think this column is, I think this belongs to the collective, because the Hermit, this card tells me y'all have already gone within. There has already been a period of soul searching, contemplation, solitude, growth, and resolve. So I'm getting y'all have spent enough time with y'all selves to understand y'all's own position and to become y'all's own guiding light. And that really does matter here, because the next card is this Nine of Cups reversed, and this is about a hollow feeling. This card carries a really, really strong energy of self-indulgence. This is about excess, imbalance. This is about behavior that might feel good in the moment, but ultimately does not leave y'all satisfied. And I don't think y'all are discovering this for the first time. This card, this Hermit, it tells me that y'all understand it. There is something about this hollow energy that feels familiar enough that y'all already know exactly where it leads. Maybe y'all have lived through your own version of this pattern before. Maybe y'all have made choices based on what felt good in the moment and then had to sit with what was left when that feeling wore off. Or maybe y'all's own internal work has simply given y'all enough perspective to recognize the difference between something that feels good temporarily and something that can actually fulfill y'all. But however y'all learn this lesson, this Hermit tells me that y'all have gone deep enough within y'all selves to understand the hollowness attached to this kind of shadow pattern. And also understanding that changes the way y'all evaluate what y'all allow into your lives altogether. Because then we get this 7 of coins, and this is about good things taking time. This is perseverance. This is the long-term view. It talks about coming to fruition, harvest, investment, and patience. So, how does the collective resolve this hollow feeling? I'm getting y'all look at the whole picture, right? Instead of asking whether something feels good right now, y'all are looking at where it actually leads. Y'all are asking what happens if y'all continue investing here. Y'all are asking, what does this become 6 months from now? Or what does this become a year from now? Y'all are asking what kind of harvest can actually grow from what y'all are putting your energy into today. And that is a completely different way of moving through life than chasing immediate gratification, because I'm getting something can feel incredible in the moment, right? But that thing can still lead absolutely nowhere. We all know this. Something can give y'all excitement, attention, validation, pleasure, or even temporary relief. And that very thing can still leave y'all sitting with an empty feeling when the moment is over. And the collective, y'all understand that. I think that is what this spiritual mastery of the Hermit is showing us. It is not necessarily that y'all never experience temptation or desire or impulse or excitement. No. It's that y'all have enough understanding of y'all selves to look beyond the immediate experience and ask what it is actually creating. Y'all have seen the effects of this shadow pattern before, haven't y'all, collective? Y'all know that what feels good and what is good for y'all are not necessarily the same thing. So I'm getting, instead of allowing the immediate moment to determine your investment, y'all are keeping your sights set on the entire picture. Y'all are looking at the harvest. And if this long-term outcome does not align with where y'all are trying to go, then the temporary gratification simply is not enough for y'all anymore. Right, collective? That is a very different position from this first person we saw at the beginning, because while they are sitting inside of a position that they no longer want, while they struggle to redirect themselves out of it, the collective seems to understand exactly how somebody ends up in a position like this person has, because y'all recognize the pattern. Y'all recognize the hollowness. And instead of repeating it, y'all are looking ahead. And that brings us into this final emotional undertone of confusion. And under confusion, we have the Emperor reversed, the Star reversed, and the Seven of Wands. This card came out sideways. So I think we are shifting back into the energy of this first person that we started with, because remember, collective, this person already knows that they want to change the outcome of where they have landed. The problem is they haven't actually moved because they're lacking the spark or the confidence to follow through. And we know their energy needs to be redirected, and that they are resisting surrender. And now I think we're ending this message, and we're going to find out exactly why. This Emperor reverse says excessive control. So I'm getting there is rigidity here, inflexibility. This person may be trying to maintain control over something that actually requires them to surrender control in order for anything to change. And this energy, that connects us right back to this Hanged Man reverse, because this person cannot surrender while simultaneously trying to control every aspect of what happens next. And this person cannot redirect their energy while continuing to grip the same position. They cannot effectively change an outcome while insisting that everything surrounding that outcome remains exactly the same. So there is a big contradiction happening inside of this person right now. They want something to change, but they are still resisting some part of what that change would require. And then we get to this Star reverse. And this card is about lack of faith. It's about hopelessness, negativity. This card talks about despair. And I'm getting that this may be getting underneath the excessive control here, because if this person does not have faith in what comes next, it makes sense that they would try to control what they currently have, even if what they currently have isn't what they actually want. There can be security in the familiar, because in the familiar, this person knows what happens there. They know what the rules are. They know what to expect. But on the other hand, stepping towards something different, that means stepping into an outcome they cannot completely predict. And I think that takes us right back to this oracle card of confusion. There may be too many thoughts, too many possibilities, too much information, or simply there could be too much internal conflict for this person to clearly see the way forward. But confusion, we said at the beginning, that also reminds us that confusion is temporary. So at some point, this person needs to slow down, think clearly, and then choose their direction. And that brings us to this final card, which is the Seven of Wands. And in its upright position, this card is about something that is worth fighting for. But today this card came out sideways. And I think that matters, because I don't think this person has fully planted their feet just yet. This person is at a decision point. This card in its upright form talks about making a stand, facing something head on, not backing down. It talks about liberty and deciding what is actually worth fighting for. But sideways, I don't think this person has made that decision just yet. They are sitting at the threshold of it, asking, do they continue fighting to preserve the position they are already in? Do they keep trying to control whatever is familiar? Or does this person finally decide that the outcome they actually want is the thing that's worth fighting for? Because these decisions are different things. They're different fights. And I think that is exactly where this person is. They know they want to change the outcome. They know something about their current position is not working. But now they have to decide whether they are willing to do what would actually move them out of it. Meanwhile, the collective, y'all are sitting in the middle of this spread with a much clearer understanding, aren't y'all? And I'm getting that's because y'all have already gone within. Y'all already understand the hollow feeling that can come from self-indulgence and immediate gratification. And instead of looking only at what feels good right now, y'all are looking at the whole picture, the long-term view, the investment, and the harvest. So while this person is arriving at a decision point around what is actually worth fighting for, the collective seems to already understand what is worth investing in. And that may be the biggest contrast in this whole message, because one energy is still deciding whether to leave the shadow while the collective has already learned what the shadow produces. It looks like these are two people at two very different points in their journey. The collective, you all have reached spiritual mastery, while this person still sits in the contrast. And that makes all the difference, collective. I think what matters here is that y'all are being realistic. It seems that y'all know exactly where you stand and exactly where you are. And all of this surrounding energy, the uncertainty energy, the confusion energy, that's just all extra chaos and noise. Isn't it, collective? This might be where y'all have to part ways and you go where you're heading while this person stays right where they are. Unless, of course, they heed the call. And that's the message that I have for y'all today, So if this one landed, then like my message. And if you made it to the end, then leave me a comment and let me know. And make sure y'all are following along. And remember, where there is love, there is light. I'll see y'all again real soon.